Welcome to Dad's DeFi Space. I'm Kevin, and I'm so grateful you took a moment out of your day to spend it with me, your guide to all things crypto and DeFi. It's been a while since we've had a live stream. I've had a busy few weeks. Lot of stuff going on in the family. Had to take a little bit of time off. I've been still trying to upload content. And educational articles on our webpage, so you can never stop learning. And do we have a live stream for you today? We're going to be looking at a bunch of different components of the DeFi and crypto markets today. But before we get into that, remember, none of this today is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a dad who enjoys diving into the crypto and DeFi space. It is risky. You can lose all your money. I'm so glad we've gotten that out of the way. But today we're going to talk about, is BTC hitting upper resistance, or is Bitcoin about to break out? And we know how that will affect altcoins. Also, we're going to check out altcoin signals. We're going to look at the total two, Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart, talk a little bit about the bull market support band, and take a look at the effects tariffs are having on the market, because obviously we all know that the crypto market should be on fire right now, and it is to an extent, but not like people thought. Money is inflowing into ETFs. Institutions are getting involved. Companies are putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and there's only 21 million coins. Go figure, right? And we're going to talk about that in today's stream. We're also going to look at, believe it or not, the growth of the Solana network. And we're going to talk about how you can trade tokenized stocks on Solana. The RWA space is going to be one of the biggest narratives this cycle, and we're going to dive deep into that on the Solana blockchain. We're going to talk a little bit about Pump.fun and their token launch, and a deep dive concerning the TAO BitTensor network, which is an AI infrastructure play, and why we are becoming so bullish on this blockchain. And we're going to take a look, kind of an introduction into TAO subnets and a little bit of alpha for those of you all in this space. At the very end of the stream, I'm going to take a look at our Krystal DeFi USDC vault. It is, we have kind of changed how we will manage the funds. We'd love for you to join us and earn some yield, but that'll be at the end of the stream, and we'll get there in a minute. So again, if you like content like this, please like and subscribe, ping that notification bell. Small channels unite, and get that word out there. So first, let's take a look at Bitcoin's price action in the charts, and we're going to be discussing its upper resistance zones. Now, Bitcoin, the big daddy of all, is looking quite strong right now, but we have not been able to gain support back above the all-time high. Taking a look at Bitcoin's price chart, you can see right here that we are sitting right at 109,521. Now, our short that we took profit on, we re-entered around 109.8, 109,000. So that one is in the negative right now, but we're still holding on to it, because until Bitcoin can claim back above as support 107.2 to 107.5K, I'm not feeling confident that we're going to continue the bull. And we have been a little warm for a little while. Therefore, we're probably getting close to a possible correction just based off of time. Looking at Bitcoin, we are Actually, I want to change some indicators on our chart real quick, so give me just a second. I want to bring up the bull market support band and our RSI. All right, so that's looking good. And there we go. All right. Now, let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart. As you can see, over the last few weeks, Bitcoin has been on a solid uptrend. The chart's kind of messy. I just want to take some of my old stuff off of it. We are still very strongly above the bull market support band, as you can see right here, which the mid-range of this band is sitting around 97.9, around 98K. So as long as we stay above this bull market support band, and I'm looking around the $100,000 region, I'm still satisfied with where we stand right now within the bull market. And really, we could take a correction all the way down into this lower range, which is 78, and still maintain our bull market structure. But if we break below 94, 95, I am starting to get worried. So let's go down to the daily chart, and I wanted to have a little talk about what Bitcoin has been doing a little more recently. As you can see, we kind of have some support right here around the 105K region. We have hit it 1, 2, 3, 4, wicked 5, 6. I mean, we hit through this area constantly, as you can see in my chart right here. I will be covering my short at 105.2 pretty much, because if I would expect a bounce in this area. Again, we could go all the way back down to 102.5, but these are kind of the two I'm looking at. Now, more recently, you're looking at, say, 107.3, this low on the daily, and then the all-time high is still sitting just right at $112,000. So I can remember having these conversations with my own wife when Bitcoin was sitting at 60K, 50K, 40K, 30K. I didn't talk to her when I saw that dip down into 16K area after the FTX collapse, but it is what it is. I'm telling you this to give you perspective. Bitcoin has shown a lot of strength over the last couple of years since the end of the last bull run, and I expect it to maintain strength. Now, how do I know this? Well, look no farther than Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance right now, we are sitting at right at 64.7%. We are dipping on the day, meaning money is probably flowing back into some altcoins. I would expect them to kind of be a little pumpy right now. But the Bitcoin dominance were below our trend run that we've kind of been hovering around. You see us go up. We went up to about 65%. Now, I'm still on the 66% area unless this trend line becomes resistance, which would be sitting right at about 65%. As long as Bitcoin shows strength, it's going to take liquidity from the altcoin markets. So be careful how you're playing up there. Only invest what you can afford to lose and stick with your high conviction plays. That's what we do. And, you need your kind of alpha in the place. Maybe you trade meme coins. Maybe you are a narrative hunter. Maybe you are an airdrop farmer, or like me, you like to provide liquidity and DeFi, do a little bit of trading with leverage. You have to find what works for you, and don't try to do everything, right? Pick one or two spots, specialties within the crypto space, and learn those skill sets in detail, right? All right, enough about Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance. The next chart I really wanted to take a look at before we look at the markets is Ethereum versus Bitcoin. This chart, was showing a lot of strength. It was starting to show some weakness. And to be quite honest, based off the rest of the charts today, I would expect this one to be showing a little bit of strength today. So we're going to take a look at Ethereum versus Bitcoin. We were at the bottom range of the bull market support band, and we're pushing above it on the daily. What I would like to see with ETH versus Bitcoin is that we get above the bull market support band on the weekly chart. Now, we are above it, sort of, on the daily, but not on the weekly. So to stay above the bull market support band, we need to be looking at the 0.025 level, let's say. That's 0.025 Bitcoin per ETH. And we are making our way up to our last time that Ethereum versus Bitcoin was 0.03, which was sort of like where I really wanted to accumulate heavy. As we know, we dropped a lot lower than that. We don't get them all right, of course. But this chart's leveling out. This is showing some support in this area on the weekly. If we can get above this trend line, back above the bull market support band, and then back above the 0.03 level, I'm feeling awesome. And what we want to get that altcoin season everyone so much has been talking about, right? We need it to look sort of like this. Sorry, my mouse broke earlier today, and I'm having to use mouse pad, which is not something I like to do. All right. Whoop. We went a little too far. There we go. You can see right here, this drop on, that began on Monday of 2018, right? That was 2 cycles ago. Bitcoin dominance literally dropped pretty much around 72%. That is your altcoin season, right? This was the last one that occurred right here, right? And that one is November of 2021. It's dropping like crazy. I said that backwards. Not dropping for altcoin season. That's Bitcoin season when this chart is dropping. If I invert the chart, then it would show an increase in ETH Bitcoin for alt season. No. Alt season would be this chart skyrocketing up, which would be more like here. Let's go back and start that over. I apologize. So if we look at ETH Bitcoin here, on December 11th, 2017, that was the beginning of altcoin season. ETH Bitcoin went from the bottom to the top. We were looking at a ton, over 200%. That's your altcoin season. It dropped back down. It went back up. It dropped back down. This right here, December of 2018 would have been the bottom of that bear market 2 cycles ago. Same thing. Right here, we're looking at March of 2021, a few months after I entered the crypto space. And we had this parabolic run up. Let's zoom in on this one right here so you can kind of get an idea. Get an idea what this looks like. Hold on. Let me adjust my chart. Right. And what is that? We went from the March low of, let's see, 0.029 all the way up to the top. 182% between ETH and Bitcoin. That's what you want to see for an altcoin season. And then after the top, you're going to have that downtrend. That's why ETH Bitcoin has been on a downtrend literally for, ever. Right? Literally forever. It's crazy. But looking at this chart, what do we notice? We're trying to get out of that downtrend. And I love the fact that ETH Bitcoin is starting to show relative strength. Now, it wouldn't surprise me. Bitcoin goes down. It's going to show strength. Some of the ETH is going to bleed back into BTC. So don't be surprised if that happens. But we are rounding the end of Bitcoin season. And if we go over into coin market cap, you can see, let me zoom out a little bit here. You can see that the altcoin season index is sitting right at around 28 being Bitcoin season, slowly moving into neutral. I actually expect us to go a little bit more into Bitcoin season. Crypto market cap right now sitting at $3.4 trillion. Bitcoin 109.4, Ethereum 2,666, BNB 663, Solana 154, and XRP 238. Crypto ETF flows have been in an uptrend. There's been a lot more inflows than outflows, but the crypto ETF inflows have been a little bit less over the last couple of days. Not that that really means anything. Bitcoin dominance, as we said, sitting at 64%. And the fear and greed index at 52, which is firmly in the neutral range. Now, not too long ago, we were getting into the greedy range. That's when we need to start thinking about taking profits, although we can stay in the greed and in the fear range for long periods of time. All right. So that for the quick market update, what I would like to do next, just to let you all know, be a little calmer about where the market stands. We are at the CoinGlass bull market peak cycle page. I do like to show this, especially during live streams. You see all these red X's. None of our top signal indicators are hitting right now. Zero, none. Now, a couple of them, like the ETF to BTC ratio, the Bitcoin dominance is up. That one actually you want it to be down quite a bit. The net unrealized profit, that one's up pretty high, but a lot of other indicators, pi cycle top, MVRVZ score, the golden ratio multiplier, so many that we've talked about before, they're not hitting. It is not close to the end of the market cycle. Let me rephrase that. It's not the end of the cycle. I do believe, personally, my opinion, that we are rounding to the end of the cycle, hence all the talk about which altcoins we are going to be positioning into. All right. I want it to take a trip, and I want it to have a discussion about the powerful growth that's been occurring on the Solana blockchain. So we're just into the third waypoint of the live stream, and I wanted to talk a little bit about Solana. Okay. There have been two components of Solana that are showing a lot of growth for the network. First and foremost is meme coins and the meme coin casino. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But our second thing is tokenized stocks. And I want to do a section on that also today. But I wanted to show you a little bit of stock news just to give you an idea of why I believe that Solana is showing growth. Even though I still believe that over the next little bit, Ethereum is going to be the one that outperforms Solana. Solana is still a heavily weighted position in our portfolio. Now, what I find interesting about meme coins is the culture. And I was doing a little bit of back research, looking into companies investing into cryptocurrencies in the U.S. markets. Now, this is actually a over-the-counter stock company called Dogecoin Cash. They are creating a crypto meme reserve, and it just baffled me that stuff like this. It baffled me that stuff like this exists in our markets, but they basically issued a bunch of shares of stock, diluting shareholder value, and they bought a bunch of dog tokens, right? And other meme tokens. Dogecoin Cash, Dogecoin, Cash Dog. Now, we are actually invested in the Dog Rune on the Bitcoin network. Full disclosure here. I am going to talk about how you can buy runes and the Dog token in a future video. But the reason I'm showing you this is just to show you the bullishness that is underneath the surface. And no, I'm not going to invest in a company like this. I'm not going to loan you money to invest in meme coins. I can do that on a leverage exchange. Thank you very much. Now, next, I wanted to take a look at the Pump.fun token launch. They're trying to extract some more liquidity from the market, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt, right? They are wanting to kill legacy media. You can live stream through Pump after you launch a token, and it sounds like they're trying to extract some for the token sale, but also create kind of a social market. A lot of the details of this launch are not available yet. We'll probably be shorting it because the insiders are probably going to be selling this one. At least I think so after the initial pump. So this public sale begins in 2 days on July 12th. If you go to the Pump.fun website, you can register there. If you're in the US or UK, can't invest in this one. Sorry, guys. Everyone else can, though. So critics are saying the 600 million to 700 million of revenue is bad optics versus an airdrop. A lot of Pump.fun participants wanted to be part of, wanted this to be more of a distribution through airdrop. I mean, there's some, but it's not seeming as much that way, and some of the airdrop kind of criteria and how the ICO is going to happen have been kind of under lock and key. But they're saying that Pump will fuel platforms. Oh no, excuse me. Knocking stuff over here during the stream. The Pump.fun founder says the Pump token will fuel the platform's next step in killing legacy media. Hopefully not the crazy, awful things that get live streamed on Pump. They had to get rid of it at one point, on the verge of it being practically abusive. Now, what's crazy is there is going to be some allocation to an airdrop. And like they said, their plan is to kill Facebook, Instagram, and all of that out there already. We'll have to just wait and see. All right. What we're going to be looking at next is our token on Pump.fun. This is the one that my 8-year-old daughter helped me create. This is Win Rainbow Kitty. The community is our community. The community is our community. But anyone who is in the live stream, I'm going to be dropping Rainbow Kitty tokens. I have around $100 worth in my wallet right now. And if you provide your Solana address, I will drop some of those tokens to you and tell my daughter at dinner tonight. Again, none of it's financial advice. Investing in meme tokens is gambling. We're not going to be selling any yet, but just a little science experiment that I'm doing with my daughter. But anyway, I have the address in the description, and we are going to move on to other things in the Solana network that are causing so much growth. Now, the Pump.fun token launch is going to require people to use the Solana network. Therefore, we have seen an uptick in transactions on the Solana network. But it's not just because of meme tokens on Solana blockchain. And before I move to the next part, I'm not, but if anyone out there is interested in the token launch, you can join now. Click this link at the top of the screen in the green after you go into Pump.fun. All right. Moving on. Next piece of news, Robinhood. Now, Robinhood, the stock trading app, it is trading on the US stock exchange at all-time highs. It's because of their tokenization strategy. Now, they are building their own layer 2 on the Arbitrum blockchain, and they are utilizing the same X stocks through Backed Financial, who tokenized stocks on the Solana blockchain. They're being sold through Kraken, and they are also infiltrating the BNB chain and, of course, Solana. But we're going to show you a little bit later how we can trade X stocks, tokenized securities on the Solana blockchain. Now, Robinhood has really stepped up their game this cycle. It's like they're trying to become the go-to financial app of the younger generation. It's made Hood an interesting kind of investment proposition, although I do not hold any in my portfolio right now. So let's talk a little bit about Back Finance. See, this is Back Finance webpage. They are launching new tokenized securities all the time. Google, Tesla, GameStop, MicroStrategy. You got the S&P 500 index, NVIDIA, Coinbase. And I'm sure there's going to be more. They even pay out the dividends through the actual tokenized security, which is pretty interesting to say the least. Now, I have not been able to explore much of the liquidity and the X stocks available on the Arbitrum blockchain, but I have looked at this on Solana. And on the Solana tokenized stock market, it has jumped almost $48 million of growth just over the last few days, which has actually created excellent opportunities to provide liquidity, which we're going to talk about a little bit later in the live stream. But we're going to take a quick little break right now. My setup is messed up since my keyboard and mouse were not working, and I want to check out and see if there are any comments. Now, what are your opinions on tokenized securities? Now, obviously, there's not a lot of liquidity available yet. It's new, so it's hard to say what kind of spread will exist when you are cashing out tokenized stocks. That is something to be seen. And but it gives an excellent value proposition. An excellent value proposition for the tokenization of stocks. All right. Moving on. So what I wanted to show you now is how can we actually trade and invest tokenized securities. So hopefully you'll find this interesting, and then we're going to move into our deep dive on the TAO network and an update of our Krystal vault. Right now, you're looking at the Jupiter DEX. Now, Jupiter is a DEX aggregator on the Solana blockchain that allows you to get the best possible routing for your decentralized trades. Looking at our personal wallet, I want to show you how easy this is. Now, on the Solana blockchain, some of these have very low liquidity, so you have to be extremely careful, especially when trading these securities. right? And I'm having trouble connecting right now, so hold on one second. We are having some connection issues, so it's going to reconnect. And there we go. All right. So we are on the Jupiter DEX. I've talked about it a lot before. I also want to make you aware that Pump.fun isn't the only launch pad available. There are launch pads on Radium. There's a launch pad that they just created called Jupiter Studio. There's a lot more options with this one, so it's hard to say how this is going to play in to the end of the bull run with so many other launch pads opening. But let's get back to talking about tokenized securities on Jupiter DEX. I can purchase the SPYX, which is the S&P 500 index fund, for $622. It's up 0.28%. And that's with USDC. Now, I do not have any USDC in my wallet, but I do have some Solana, and I'm gonna spend half of that, just $10, because I don't have much in my wallet right now, and buy some SPYX. We're gonna see if there's enough liquidity for my swap. Well, first we're gonna have to put in our password. Excellent. And there was enough liquidity to perform this swap. Now, these are new, and you really need to be careful for price slippage. Jupiter DEX has some options that allow you to tailor it the way you would like it to be. Hold on one second. Awesome. And then we're going to open my wallet. And you can see some of my other tokens here, which I'm fine with. And you can see the S&P 500 index right here. And let's see, the S&P 500, they have it at 621. And if I go to, I don't know, Yahoo Finance, we'll just go to Yahoo Finance. And we look at the price of the S&P 500. Let's look up the actual SPY. And if you look at the SPY index fund, it's 623.46. And on Jupiter, we're looking at 622. So it's actually cheaper on Jupiter right now. There is a little bit of a spread between the two. So I'm not going to be doing this with any large amounts of money. But I did want to show you some opportunities that exist. And with this being such a new opportunity. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the Radium DEX, okay? And I'm going to just take you to my Radium portfolio. There's only two positions in here. One is a Sol USDC. It's earning a little bit of percentage, and a Tesla position. Now, the Tesla one was earning close to 80 to 90% APR. Right now, it's sitting at around 13. I'm at the lower end of my range, but that's only because Tesla has yeah, it's at the lower end of my range, so Tesla's been in a little bit of a downtrend, but that's okay. We're kind of probably going to need to look at rebalancing this position. But our projected APR over the next few days, let's look at the 7-day. We're looking at you know, $59 to anywhere from 30 to 80% APR, although about a quarter of that is coming from Radium rewards. This position on Radium is the Tesla X USDC position 0.25%. And I'm running a range between 290 and 324. And then we'll rebalance to 6% within the range. If I go too far out. Now, as you can see, I have less than $200 of capital in here, and I plan on running this position for quite a while longer just to see if we can pick up some more yield. But right now, volume's kind of low. And so you have options to purchase and provide liquidity for things like Tesla, SpyX. Most of the others don't have enough liquidity available to provide liquidity yet, but you can trade these on centralized exchanges like Kraken, links in the description. And of course, as volume increases and as more people purchase tokenized securities, we can get more of this fee exposure on a protocol like Radium. So I hope that just gives you some basic ideas of how to purchase tokenized securities and what you can do in Radium, providing liquidity with Tesla X or SpyX, which I find this stuff so interesting. And I want to give a big shout out to Gordon from the UIG, who presented a kind of a DeFi mastermind for everyone on tokenized X stocks on Solana not too long ago. If you're interested in having opportunities to be around a lot of like-minded people who are really not just experimenting, but successfully implementing more advanced DeFi strategies and crypto investment strategies, you really should consider joining the Underdog Investment Group, Crypto Labs Research. Use our link for 20% off your first month. And Gordon, thank you for all the alpha. It's highly appreciated. But enough of the plugs. Let's move in to one of the last parts of the stream, which is going to be a deep dive on the BitTensor ecosystem and the BitTensor network. Now, before we begin, if you would like access to any of these articles that I have produced and written, consider checking out dadsdefispace.org. This is a recent article that I've written on the TAO network and TAO ecosystem. So before we begin, what is BitTensor? BitTensor is a AI infrastructure and network, and they are not just transforming crypto investing, but AI implementation and artificial intelligence. So the blockchain of TAO is rapidly evolving into an ecosystem of different AI plays. So the fusion between digital assets and AI is inevitable, and TAO is at the forefront of this, creating scalable, workable systems that provide value to the entire ecosystem. So what is TAO? BitTensor, or TAO, is a new layer 1 blockchain that is using a proof of intelligent miner, right? So people are creating AI model outputs, which validators score, and all of them are trying to mine more TAO by providing more value to the BitTensor network. So they can do this in many different ways, right? But TAO technically would be a utility token, right? It is what they use for the AI marketplace. It's for decentralized APIs, predictive tools for DeFi traders, governance, subnet minting, staking, and gas fees on the network. So the more the network gets used, the more the more value that's brought to the TAO token. Now, what's interesting and I think is ingenious are the subnets. Now, the subnet strategy allows BitTensor to specialize and to scale their blockchain because each subnet can operate independently and focus on a specific AI or decentralized task, right? So the way a subnet works is each subnet has to stake so much TAO to earn alpha tokens, right? And those alpha tokens represent subnet value. Those can appreciate with demand, obviously, but each subnet would run their own validator and miner pools, and they're just to verify the data and the intelligence being brought into the entire AI system. So the growth signal is the more TAO staked, the more trust and value people and the network are giving to that subnet, right? And if you look at the article, we have the first a few examples of different test nets here. Apex is a large language model, kind of like ChatGPT. You have Omron, it's a security protocol, AI validation, social tensor for image generation, Bitmine, deepfake detection, code generation, AI media content with Bitcast. That's one that we're interested in because it allows content creators to become a miner and earn TAO or subnet tokens. TAO Hash, which is going to be a proof of work blockchain marketplace, which I find extremely interesting. The utility with this one is that you can trade or rent proof of work hash rate and then create a revenue stream off of mining. I find that so interesting, and that they're a protocol that's trying to do this in a decentralized manner. And then if BitTensor blows up, there's going to be subnets that blow up. And the subnets are at just a few $1 million of market cap. You can see enormous gains with some of these. And some of the staking are offering 50% APR, 100%, 200% APR for staking some of these subnet tokens. Now, I wanted to get into a quick tokenomics breakdown of the TAO network. So they were modeled after Bitcoin. So there's only 21 million TAO tokens, right? The circulating supply right now is 7.2 million of the 21. They have a halving event every 4 years, just like Bitcoin. That's halving the mining rewards. So the inflation rate is dynamic, and it also depends on the rewards being offered for subnets, but there will never be more than 21 million tokens. Excuse me. If you do a little bit of research into their team, there are connections to Google and DeepMind engineers. Their key leader is Jacob Steves, who was an OpenAI research executive. And there's over 56,000 wallets and a growing GitHub and Discord community on the TAO network. Check that out for yourself. Now, some of the things that I believe make TAO unique. Number one, real AI work is equaling real rewards. The alpha markets create tradable rewards for subnet performance, which incentivizes people to actually build on the blockchain, not just create meme coins that value extract. It's like the opposite almost. It has an infinite modularity, so AI, media mining, security can all be done within one blockchain. No other chain is like that within the AI space that I know of. If you know of one, please let me know in the comments. That would be awesome. And I wanted to talk a little bit about some of my strategies. Now, not financial advice, of course, but there are high potential subnets such as Bitcash or TAO hash the DTAO and earn high value alpha tokens, right? So right now I'm accumulating TAO really between here and $350. I want to try to build my bag up. Because I believe once we regain support back above the 360 level, and we can look at the charts in just a minute, that TAO is going to go crazy. But understand that BitTensor TAO, it's redefining crypto and altcoin investing by creating a network that ties artificial intelligence and the data needed to decent artificial intelligence by offering rewards for those who create things that add value to the network. So it brings everything from LLMs and mining to social projects and even proof of work marketplaces. There's a lot going on in this ecosystem, and this makes me extremely bullish in the mid-term for this cycle. Obviously, I'm not going to hold on to these things forever. These are altcoins, and we will dump all of our altcoins by the end of this cycle, and you should too. But I hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the TAO ecosystem. This was kind of an introduction, just scraping the surface. On Dad's DeFi space, I've created kind of a list of the first 100 subnets and kind of value propositions, what they do, or if some of them aren't even built out yet. And you just wanted to bring some of this early alpha to you all so you all can make better investing decisions in the crypto space. Now, this brings us to the very final part of our stream today, and that is Krystal Vaults. Now, we have a link to our USDC Krystal Vault, and here we go. And anyone can participate and deposit funds. We will manage the vault ourselves, but I wanted to go over how we are managing our Krystal Vault and how it looks. So this guide I'm about to go through, which is again also posted on Dad's DeFi space, is going to walk through how I actively manage the Dad's DeFi space Krystal Vault, which I'm doing, interacting with it a few times a week using ChatGPT's liquidity providing provisioning, which is an awesome GPT that can help assess and manage DeFi liquidity positions. So my goals that I've entered into ChatGPT for this is I want to maximize APR rewards through active LP management, harvest my USDC fees for tactical redeployment, at least for the time being, and I want to minimize impermanent loss without sacrificing yield, and I will feed in TradingView and pool data for real-time decision making. Now, my inputs that I told it I want to only have to manage this 2 to 3 times a week. I can tolerate moderate to high impermanent loss as long as the yield is making up for it. I prefer manual compounding over auto compounding, but we can auto compound positions, and use TradingView and DEX tools for technical triggers, right? No cap on USD exposure per asset. And let's get into our vault strategy. Now, if you've been paying attention, we have been in the exact same pools, and that is ETH USDC, a pancake swap V3, a virtual USDC, which is a vault on Uniswap V3, and then a more stable one of USDC, Coinbase Bitcoin on PancakeSwap version 3. So here's how we have it set. Our USDC vault is ranging 2,475 to 2,860. It's based off support and resistance from TradingView, and no auto compounding, but it is auto rebalancing if it goes more than 6% out of range. Once it triggers, it rebalances to the same kind of range ratios, and if price breaks below 2380, a stop loss hits and it's going to exit to USDC, and likewise it's going to do the same thing if it gets up to 2,900, and then we can redeploy that capital when needed. After we fed our pool data in, it also for virtual USDC, it gave us a range of $1.40 to $1.75. Same thing, auto rebalancing every plus or minus 6%. The trigger, if it breaks below $1.38, or if the profit and loss is less than or greater than -5%, boom, it's going to take it off the table. And then our final vault is completely manual. Although the price points are incorrect, we are doing a 6% range of Bitcoin, which it is still in right now. We're going to need to correct that for the article. So I'm claiming 2 to 3 times a week. We're going to do a claim here in just a minute, although I readjusted this last night, so there's not going to be a lot to claim, and then we'll start our claim routine today. So today being what? Wednesday, we'll do another claim on Friday, and then another one on Monday, hopefully. Now, if you look at the rest of the article, it's going to show you how to manage. And then at the end, I'm going to provide a prompt for everyone where you can do this with your own liquidity positions. Now, what's interesting about this is ever since we've started managing our vault with the help of ChatGPT, we have improved our performance just since the last day or two. So I'm going into the Krystal DeFi app right now for the final part of the stream. Unlock our wallets. All right. Now I'm going to go into my vault on the profile. And if you're interested in checking out this vault, or if you want to participate with me, I have a link for it in the description. This is going to give us much more data as we do it. We're already making up. Now, when I started this position, our profit and loss was negative $40, $50 of permanent loss pretty much, and a decrease in price appreciation. We are now down to negative $22.72. Average yield on this is 176.24 over the last 7 days because our yield has been a little lower. 65% of the position is in wrapped ETH USDC, 95 in USDC Coinbase Bitcoin, and just under 23% in virtual USDC. Now, looking at the performance of each asset, you can see that, our Bitcoin is out of range, which is fine. We're going to just leave it like that for now. Once they go out of range, I will input this data into chat, and it will give me options for adjustments, and then I will let you know. What's interesting is we still were slightly in profit since last night on this position. And we're going to just hold on to this because I actually think it's going to fall back into range. And we're going to go back to our main pool page. If it'll load. All right. And then I want to take a look at the other two pools real quick. We have our virtual USDC, which is kind of the more degen high yield position that's a lot more volatile. This one has been earning an awesome amount of fees. We're 3 days in on $150. You can see, and you can pause, take a screenshot. That is our automated range, plus or minus 6%. As you can see, we've gone out of our first range and we're in our upper range right now. Hopefully we'll stay in here for a little bit, earn some high fees in that upper range. Right now, the yield's around 250%. I'm trying to keep it between 200 and 300% to cover the impermanent loss. And then right now, we've generated just under $2 of fees and 77 cents since last night. And let's go ahead and claim our fees to USDC for each pool. So right now we are claiming our fees for the virtual USDC position. I'm confirming the transaction. There we go. And then we're going to do the same thing to our other two vaults. And then that USDC just sits there and will deploy when the market's down a little bit more, especially into the virtual position because it's run quite a bit today. Sometimes I'll shave some of the position off to build my USD position if I think the market is going to tank. I'm not going to do much of that with this vault. I do want to collect the rest of our fees though, even though it's not that much. So now we're claiming the fees for our USDC vault. And for the Bitcoin vault, we're going to just keep that one there for now. Let it sit and see if it comes back into range. But I did want to give you an overview of how I manage my vault and how I'm doing it with ChatGPT. I'm going to post the new article once I get it revised in the description. And I hope that the stream today has been quite informative. There's still a few other things I would love to go over and review. But we've already been on here for about an hour. So I hope you took a little bit of knowledge out of this today. And I hope each of you have a good hump day and a good end to your week. Fix the money and fix the world. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace.